So this past couple weeks, I've been doing a prayer series with the young adults. I'm in a spiritual director training program. It's a 3-year program. And one of the assignments is to teach relational prayer. And so in an effort not to mess too many people up in their lives, I've only restricted to teaching young adults, like 9 of them, okay? So I can mess up only 9 people for the rest of their life. Just kidding. And so it's a good training ground to be able to just practice what I've been learning in my own life. And it's so powerful and life-changing. Now, relational prayer is kind of redundant to say it like that, because all prayer is relational. But sometimes you and I can get stuck in thinking that prayer is lots of different things. But in essence, prayer is mutual self-revelation. Prayer is mutual self-revelation. I reveal myself to God, and God reveals himself to me. Actually, it's the other way around. God reveals himself to me, and I receive that, and I reveal myself to God. And one of the main ways that I've been taught how to pray, and which I want to just share briefly tonight a little bit with you, because it's so powerful, is they call it with an acronym ARRR, or affectionately called praying like a pirate. R, okay? And each of the letters stands for something. Acknowledge is the A. R is relate. The other R is to receive and then to respond. I'm not going to go through all of it tonight, but I just want to talk about those first two, A and R. So one of the very difficult things that you and I can experience in life is just acknowledging what's going on. Like even right now. Acknowledging what's going on in 3 places. In our thoughts, and in our feelings, and in our desires, and what we want. And so sometimes you and I, we can get stuck in prayer because we think that we're supposed to be thinking a certain way. Like, I should be thinking this way. That's when I can pray. Or I should be thinking these thoughts. That's when I can pray. Or I shouldn't be thinking this. Or I should stop thinking this and then I can pray. But actually, what I've been being trained in, and what I want to share briefly tonight with you is, actually, you don't have to do any of that. You just get to make space for your humanity to show up. You just get to say, what am I thinking? Right now, the good, the bad, and the ugly. What am I thinking? Same goes for feeling. What am I feeling? Not, I should be feeling a certain way, or I shouldn't be feeling a certain way. Like, Christians can't feel angry, so when I'm done feeling angry, then I can pray. Well, I shouldn't be afraid, because we're not supposed to be afraid, so when I'm done being afraid, then I can pray. Has that ever worked, by the way? Have you ever tried to do that? Rather, we just get to acknowledge, I'm afraid. I actually get to talk to God and say, God, I am afraid. Or, I am angry. Or, I am sad. I am lonely. I am frustrated. I feel abandoned. I feel lost. Or whatever you're feeling. And what you want. Not, I should be wanting something, or I shouldn't be wanting something, or I have to stop wanting this and then I can pray, or I need to start wanting a certain thing and then I can pray. No, just what are you wanting? Do you want a Tesla? Just tell God that. Those doors are so cool. Like, I'll be watching like the 3rd graders and 4th graders, and some of the cars will pull up and they'll have a Tesla and their doors will swing and open. It's like, are we in the future? We are. We are. Do you want one? Well, say that to God. It doesn't mean he'll give you one. You have to buy Father Peter and I one first. I'm just kidding. Because prayer is mutual self-revelation. I get to share with God like a friend what I want, what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking. So tonight, because we're in prayer, Mass is prayer. It's actually the highest form of prayer. You can't pray better than the Mass. Not that we shouldn't pray in other ways, because we unite our prayers to his prayer, and he shared himself with the Father completely. He didn't hold anything back. He didn't pretend that he had to be someone else than he was in order to talk with the Father. So tonight, I just want to make space for your humanity. What are you thinking about? What are you feeling? What are you desiring? You see, Jesus does this in the gospel. He's so gentle. He's so wise. He comes up, and God won't barge into your life. So I want to say this really reverently, but it's so true. Because tonight we're going to invite those who are being confirmed to stand and profess their faith. If you don't want God in your life, you won't have him. If you don't want God in your life, you won't have him. Because he doesn't barge in. He doesn't rip down a locked door. He doesn't take a bulldozer into our lives. He knocks. He knocks. And anyone, he says in the Bible, anyone who hears his voice and opens the door, he communes with. But if you lock that door, if you close that door, you can be alone with yourself, and that's true misery. But God wants to meet us in our misery. He doesn't want to meet us only on the outside. He wants to come in. But he doesn't barge in, so he knocks. And that's what he does with these two disciples. They're walking and they're sad. And he says, and they're arguing with themselves. They're not talking with God. You ever got stuck in your mind ever? You ever turned on the news or been on social media for hours? Then you're in your car and you're just spinning and you're only in a circle, never able to break out. I've certainly been there. Jesus enters into our circle. Jesus enters into our rumination. Jesus enters into our depression. Jesus enters into our anxiety. Jesus enters into our thinking that never resolves itself and says, what are you thinking about? What are you discussing? What are you arguing about as you walk? And then they say, are you the only one who's basically they say to Jesus, are you living in a cave? Are you living under a rock? That's what they say to Jesus. Don't you have a TikTok account? Jesus, I'm serious, Jesus. Aren't you paying attention to the world? That's what these disciples say to Jesus. Don't you pay attention to the world? And then notice how Jesus responds. He says, what sort of things? Not that he doesn't know. He wants them to reveal themselves. He's a gentleman. He knocks. They share. So tonight, are you going to share yourself with God? He'll knock, he'll come and say, what you thinking about tonight? He won't judge you. What you thinking about? What you arguing about? What kind of circle thinking are you doing tonight? Jesus, haven't you been paying attention to the news? What sort of things in the news? He wants you to share. And then he starts revealing to them something so profound. Their hearts start to burn. This man knows me. And then he makes himself known in the breaking of bread. And that's what I'm going to do tonight, break the bread. So tonight, A-R-R-R, but you always start prayer with going, I just get to show up. And then I get to share.